Joining us right now is the executive editor of Golf World. Golf World. Ron Sirak joins us. Hey, Mr. Sirak, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
Well, it was a very exciting Masters over the weekend, and let's start with the winner. Before we get to Tiger, everyone wants to talk about what happened with Tiger. Let's talk about what really happened here. It was a very exciting playoff, and finally we have an Aussie winning the Masters. I was shocked to hear that an Aussie had never won the Masters.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah, I was at the one in '96 when Greg Norman started Sunday with a 6-stroke lead over Nick Faldo and shot a 78 while Faldo was shooting a 67. It's staggering that Norman never won there, and it's staggering how many great Australian players have been have won there, especially since the guy who designed Augusta National, Alistair McKenzie, designed Royal Melbourne, one of the great golf courses in the world in Australia, and the courses play very, very similarly. You'd think somebody would have learned from that course and come over and won.
Yeah, his putting, this Adam Scott, this guy, he was amazing at the end of the game.
Yeah, and that's what he struggled with in his career. He comes from that generation of players. I think there's two things about Adam. He comes from that generation of players, they're in their early 30s, mid-30s, who fell in love with the golf swing, and they learned how to master the swing, but forgot to learn how to get the ball in the hole. So that's why he's gone to the long putter. He struggled with the putting. He also comes from that generation of players who had their confidence crushed by Tiger Woods. Because when Tiger was the full Tiger, they knew they had no chance. Now the Tiger's a little bit less than the full Tiger. They see an opportunity in there.
Well, and let's pivot to Tiger for a minute. I mean, he came into this Masters as the #1 golfer in the world. He was on a bit of a winning streak there. And, the Masters has been his place. He's already won it 4 times. It's really where he made his big splash when he won his first Masters. He ended up, tied for 4th place. Should this be seen as a disappointment?
Well, it is. Because if you look now, it's 15 major championships since Tiger won his last major, the 2008 U.S. Open. He's missed a couple in there because of injuries, but he's played 15. He's 0 for 15. But the key number is that in 8 of those 15 tournaments, he's finished tied for 6th or higher. So he's had the chance, like he did here, the opportunity to win. But there's just something little missing in Tiger that makes him not be 100% what he once was.
All right, so here's the question. Was Tiger given preferential treatment with his 2-stroke penalty? Some people say he should have been disqualified. Some people suggest that after he learned what had happened, it was sort of incumbent upon him to actually withdraw from the rest of the competition. What do you think?
Well, the whole question of withdrawing is a tricky thing to get in there, to get to. That really comes down to the individual. But here's what my honest feeling is. The committee, the rules committee, was not protecting Tiger Woods. They were protecting themselves.
Yep.
Because they made a mistake on Friday night. They saw the drop on TV. They went back. They reviewed it when they were tipped off that there might be something wrong. They looked at it and they said, it's okay. And from the video, it was okay. What they didn't do is interview Tiger. If Tiger had said the same thing to the rules officials in the scoring tent that he told us, that he told the media, that, hey, I went back to my spot, then went back 2 yards further, they'd have penalized him 2 strokes.
Well, what about
they didn't protect Tiger, they protected themselves.
What about the suggestion, and this is sort of what I'm asking, is, look, they had an option here. They could have forced him to withdraw. They could have disqualified him from the match. That was their call. But what I would suggest they would never do that, because they understand one thing. As soon as Tiger is not playing, the television ratings go in the toilet.
Well, that's certainly true. But I think they would have done what they did here no matter who the player was, because ultimately the mistake was their own. And I think that's what they were trying to come for. Rule 33-7 protects the committee against its own incompetence. That's quite frankly what it does. It says if we mess up, we have an eraser. We can go back and erase the mistake that we made, and that's what they did.
Is there a lot of grumbling amongst the players on the tour when they know that people are watching at home on their sofas, and then they take to Twitter or they write emails, and then the result of their tweeting and talking about it on Facebook actually changes the course of the tournament?
Absolutely. It's there, and here's what I think they should do. Anytime a tournament's on television, have a rules official sit in the trailer, watch the tournament on TV. If that rules official see anything that looks improper, act on it. But nobody's allowed to call in.
That's right.
Just have one person be their responsibility to watch it on TV. We should use technology. It's great. I'm not a big fan of bringing widespread instant replay to every sport. For baseball, I think it would slow it down horribly. I'm not a fan there. But we should use technology to help when we can. And but let's not have anybody sitting on their couch call in. Let's have an official watch it on TV and make the decision.
Right. Yeah, it really is ridiculous. I mean, I see LeBron travel with the ball every game. I wish I could pick up a hotline to the commissioner and say, hey, David Stern, you should, we got to give the possession over to the Knicks there on that play. Why is golf held up to this higher standard? And this whole idea that Tiger should disqualify himself. No other athlete in any other sport is ever put in that position where they have to face the cameras and say, yes, I should have done the honorable thing. Can you imagine if a football player who gets away with something on the field is then told, well, you should have taken yourself out of the game?
Yeah, they haven't called traveling in the NBA since Jack Barron and Wes Unseld were playing.
Oh, you're dating yourself there, Sirak.
Exactly. But, look, part of what makes golf special, part of what golf likes to promote itself as, it's the only sport where people call penalties on themselves. Absolutely. Nobody's ever said, you know what, I held on that play. That's never going to happen. But it is that personal integrity is part of what golf's all about. Yeah. It's why there's still in golf the antiquated rule that Tiger could have been DQ'd under. Tiger would have been DQ'd not for taking a bad drop. He'd have been DQ'd for signing an incorrect scorecard. Well, some people would argue that in this era of computers, why does a player have to sign a scorecard? And we all know what they shot. Why doesn't the number just go into the computer? Well, that little bit of personal integrity is part of the examination of what makes a true champion, and I don't have any problem with that.
I like
all right.
that.
Ron Sirak, thank you so much for joining us. We continue to watch you and cover what you do for us over at Golf World, and we appreciate you joining us today.
Talk to you during the U.S. Open, if not sooner.
Looking forward to it.